When you've done the work, you want your hydration to do the same. Introducing new Gatorade Lower Sugar, now with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or colors. And 75% less sugar and all the electrolytes of regular Gatorade, now available nationwide.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on. Or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
We are Allie and Erica, certified integrative nutrition health coaches in gut and hormone health, and the hosts of the podcast Courageous Wellness.
We are committed to destigmatizing conversations in the wellness space and celebrate the experiences and lessons of our guests in pursuit of physical, emotional, and spiritual wellness. Listen to Courageous Wellness wherever you get your podcasts with fresh episodes every Wednesday.
Hey there, Mama Work It Tribe. I'm Marissa Lonick, working mom of 4, lover of all things flow, family, and fulfillment. You're tuning in to the Mama Work It podcast, where we take aim at overwhelm, mom guilt, and exhaustion and swap them out for big dreams, belly laughs, and productivity that actually fits into your life. Every week, we dive into tips, motivation, and a healthy dose of fun so you can slay your day even when you're busy AF. Ready to feel seen, energized, and totally unstoppable? Let's get to work, Mama. Hello, Mama friends. Welcome back to another awesome episode of the Mama Work It podcast. So glad you're here as always. My name is Marissa Lonick. I am your host, working mama 4, and founder of Mama Work It, where we support women in the juggle of mom life, work life, wife life, fill in the blank life. Today, Mama friends, we have a guest, which I always love, but we are talking GLP-1s. If this is something that has recently or not so recently entered into your vocabulary, if you're curious about it, if you are someone who is looking to lose some baby weight or just lose some weight in general, this is an episode you're going to want to hear. Mary Stewart is a registered dietitian, nutritionist, GLP-1 success coach, and the founder of Cultivate Nutrition, a virtual nutrition practice designed specifically for ultra busy women who want to feel better, have more energy, and simplify healthy living. Through her signature program, Prime Your Body, and her high-touch coaching, Mary helps women create sustainable habits that actually fit into real life, not add to the overwhelm. Before launching Cultivate Nutrition, Mary spent over a decade in corporate sales, traveling coast to coast to help organizations build healthier, more productive workforces. As a working mom herself, she deeply understands what it's like to juggle a demanding career, a growing family, and personal well-being. And with nearly 20 years of experience as a dietitian, her mission is to help women cut through the noise, ditch perfection, and focus on the simple, foundational habits that create lasting results. She lives in Dallas, Texas with her husband and 2 amazing kids. She is a devoted coffee enthusiast, travel lover, and a sauna workout fan. Mary, so excited to dive into this conversation. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Good. Okay. Well, you've spent nearly 20 years as a dietitian. You're also a working mom. What made you decide to focus specifically on helping ultra busy women with weight, energy, sustainable health? Tell us a little bit more about your journey.
Yeah, so my journey started really 20 years ago. When I became a dietitian, my passion was all around preventive care and prevention. So I really wanted to work with people to help them to establish healthy habits that would then reduce their risk of developing chronic diseases or chronic conditions. And I really wanted to meet people where they were and where they literally spent most of their waking hours, which we all know is at the workplace. And so that led me to want to work in corporate wellness, which, like you said in the intro, I did. I worked as a national sales manager for over 10 years. And it was during that time that I really learned how to manage and keep up with my own health and my own health habits. And it wasn't always easy and I didn't always get it right. But what I learned was that how I felt significantly impacted the success in my life. I think we all know that. We all can relate to that. And it was, how I felt, impacted how I showed up in the boardroom, right? It impacted my stamina to be able to travel week after week. It impacted my ability to, get pregnant and have children and then show up for my children the way that I wanted to. So when I started Cultivate Nutrition, I knew that exactly who I wanted to work with, which were women like you, like me, right? Who we are juggling so much and we value our health and we want to prioritize our health, but sometimes it can feel like a lot. And so I love coming alongside women and helping them to navigate that while they're juggling all the things and living a busy lifestyle, but still being able to prioritize their health.
Yeah, and it can feel like a lot. It can almost feel like another thing on our very lengthy to-do list. I want to share something if it's okay with you, and I think you'd be in full agreement with this statement. I went to this women's circle years ago, and it was run by a therapist, a mom. She's incredible, and she asked us all, like, what's your most important value? What's the most important thing that you really lean into in life? And people had all these beautiful answers, of course, but no one said the thing that she told us that should be number one on all our priority lists when it comes to values, and that's our health. And I think we tend to put that last because we're so busy taking care of other people, other things, prioritizing those things, that we forget how necessary that component is. Like you said, when you felt your best, it affected how you showed up at work, how, maybe now you show up as a mom, all of those things. And so that really stuck with me because it is true. Like when we don't feel our best, we can't pour in to others and do all the things we're doing for others, all those selfless acts at full capacity. And so it's a little bit counterintuitive, I think, for people to prioritize their health first and foremost, and whether that's weight loss or just healthy eating or whatever it is. But I think it's such a necessary factor. And if you listening are struggling with that, I wanted to share that with you. And I know Mary's going to share so much more amazing information about this because it really is a critical component for how you mom, how you work, how you wife, how you all those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right, Marissa. And it's not, it's not just critical. It's like, it's essential. It's essential. Yeah. It has to become a non-negotiable. And it's not that you have to do everything and quote, do everything. There's lots of nutritionists and wellness people out in the world that say, oh, you got to do this and you got to do that. It's not about doing it all. It's about prioritizing the high value health habits. And that might look different to you compared to me, compared to your friend down the street. But what I like to encourage my clients is when they're in that kind of maybe moment of overwhelm, when they're like, I just don't even know where to begin. It feels overwhelming. Like another thing that I have to do on my to-do list is stop and ask yourself, what is one thing, just one, what is one thing I can do today that is going to support my health today? Because every day might be a little different, right? I mean, for one day, you may realize, oh, I really need to prioritize my water. Today is a day I've got to prioritize my water because I didn't do a really good job with that yesterday and I got a headache or I felt lethargic or whatever it may be. So today is the day my body needs water. And maybe, another time you ask yourself that, you wake up and you realize, I really need to do a better job eating my protein today. I'm going to really nail protein today. Whatever it may be for you, or maybe it has nothing to do with nutrition and food. Maybe it's, I need to go on a walk around the block. I need to move my body. I need to reduce stress, and I just need to walk. So really just trying to not think of all the things, but boil it down to just one thing that is manageable for you that day that's going to make an impact for you, your health for that day.
So good. Yeah, because the overwhelm can be paralyzing. So I love that. And the water for me tends to be the thing often I need to prioritize. So thank you for that reminder. All right. So for the mom who keeps hearing about GLP-1s, but maybe feels confused, overwhelmed, can you explain in simple terms what these are and how they work?
Yes, absolutely. So I get this question all the time. So I'm really glad that you're asking, because I know a lot of people are thinking the same thing. So first of all, I do have a full training that dives really deep into this on my website. But for today, let's talk about at a high level what GLP-1s are. And GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. So it is a peptide hormone that our body actually naturally produces in response to when we eat. And it does a couple of really neat things in the body. Number one, it helps to regulate our blood sugar. And it does that by acting on the pancreas. It's going to help release insulin. It's going to decrease glucagon, and it's going to help regulate your blood sugar. The second thing that it does is it's going to help to reduce our appetite. And it does that by influencing our hunger hormones. So you might have heard hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin. So it influences those to reduce our appetite. We also have these really, it's really neat. We have all these GLP-1 receptors throughout our body. So we have them in our pancreas. We have them in our intestines. We even have them in our brain, and specifically the hypothalamus, where it will then stimulate neurons to reduce our appetite. Okay, so it's regulating blood sugar, it's regulating our appetite. The third thing that it does primarily is that it slows down our gastric emptying. So basically it slows down our digestion. So all of that is happening naturally. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but what about those medications that I'm hearing about all the time? And maybe you have friends that are on them. Those are called GLP-1 receptor agonist medications. And those medications now have been around for 20 plus years, and they are a very powerful tool. And the analogy that I like to use, they're very similar, not the same, but they're similar to our natural GLP-1. The analogy I like to use is a coffee analogy. So you said at the beginning of the intro that I love coffee, and you're right, I love coffee. And Marissa, do you like coffee?
I do like coffee, but I don't consistently drink caffeine, like purposefully.
Purposely. Okay. Well, you might, since you occasionally drink it, sounds like, you might resonate with this analogy too. Okay. So think of your natural GLP-1 as just one shot of espresso. Okay?
Yes.
Your GLP-1 receptor agonist medications, that's like taking 4 shots of espresso. So the intensity of these medications are much, much greater compared to our natural body's, response and the mechanism behind it. So that's why you're seeing such strong results when patients are on this medication. In fact, we have seen a 700% increase in this medication over the last 5 years. So
wow.
It certainly is not, I don't think this medication is going anywhere, and for the right population can definitely be a very powerful tool.
Okay. Yes.
Experience a membership that backs what you're building with American Express Business Platinum. Unlock over $3,500 in business and travel value annually with statement credits on select purchases from brands like Dell, Hilton, and Adobe, and other benefits. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Based on total potential value of statement credits on select purchases and other benefits, enrollments required, monthly and other limits and terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
So it's kind of like fast tracking you in a way. Like when I think about that analogy, right? 1 cup of coffee, okay, gets the stuff done that you need to get done. 4 cups of coffee potentially gets you to do your list and the back of the list and the side of the list and the other side of the list. It just gives you tons more energy, right? To be able to get that done. But it could also make you like jittery and anxious. Are there side effects we need to be concerned about with regards to this?
Yes. So just like any medication out there are definitely side effects that you want to be aware of. And I will say for the most common side effects are digestive related. So think nausea, constipation, diarrhea. Those are some of the most common. But I will say with the right overall nutrition framework and overall lifestyle framework, usually those symptoms will be eliminated. So those are the most common. But again, making sure that you're following in the right framework, most clients feel just fine. But that's one of the reasons why it's so important that you have the right team in place. That obviously includes the right physician to make sure that that physician, that doctor is managing those symptoms properly. A couple other symptoms that I've seen very occasionally at times is too low of blood sugar, which can cause other issues as well. So that's something that needs to be managed.
Got it.
So those are some of the common symptoms.
Yeah. You are very clear in your coaching and your practice that GLP-1s, they're a tool, they're not a solution. So talk to us about what you do, what else is in that toolkit for weight loss when you do work with clients who are taking GLP-1s.
Yes, absolutely. So you're right. I mean, GLP-1s is a great tool. And the analogy that I like to use as it relates to, just being a tool in your toolbox is GLP-1s they're like a ladder, right? So they can help you reach new heights. But in order to reach the new heights and also to stay up there and create what we call that sustainable weight loss, guess what you have to be on if you're on a ladder? You have to be on a solid foundation, right? We can't put our ladder in mud. We can't put our ladder on a bunch of rocks, right? Like we need a solid foundation. And so that's an area that I would say close to 95% of people really need to hone in on and focus on as they are either before they start the medication or as they are on that medication so that they can maintain, so they have a good experience on the medication, but also maintain that weight loss. So what is that solid foundation? So there are several tools that we can lean on, but there's what I call a GLP-1 nutrition framework that I like to follow. And I'll walk through that with you. Okay. So the first one, and I actually follow GLP-1. So the first one is G, right? So get enough protein. That's your number one goal. We want to make sure you're getting enough protein. Research tells us, in fact, 90% of GLP-1 users are not getting enough protein. And that's a big problem. Why is that? Okay. If we're not getting enough protein, Marissa, you probably already know this, we're also not able to build muscle, right? And we need to, at the very least, maintain our muscle mass, but really we need to shift. It's not just about losing weight. It's about shifting our body composition. We want to reduce fat mass, but we want to increase our muscle mass. That's our metabolic machine. And that is what we need for longevity and to support our metabolism and to create that metabolic health that's going to give us that sustainable weight loss and be able to better manage our weight. So if we're getting adequate amounts of protein, that's going to help with that. Of course, exercise is another key component to that equation. But getting enough protein is going to be key. So that's the G, get enough protein. The L is load up on fiber. So research has also shown that GLP-1 users are only consuming about 50% of the daily recommended amount of fiber than they should. And that's a big problem because if we're not getting enough fiber, guess what that's going to impact? Our digestion and the symptoms, the side effects that we were talking about earlier. It's going to affect those side effects. It's going to lead to things like constipation and digestive distress. So we've got to make sure we're leaning into fiber. And then we could do a whole podcast on fiber alone. But in short, that's going to be really important for your overall gut microbiome and making sure that we are supporting that so that you maintain that weight loss. Okay, so we've got the G, get enough protein. The L's load up on fiber. The P is prioritize hydration. So again, and you said it, Marissa, yourself, I have about 90 to 95% of my clients, when they come to me, they're not getting proper amounts of water in. And that is going to be the number one place that we always start to ensure that we are preventing those side effects from the GLP-1 medications. So making sure you're getting adequate amounts of hydration. Yes, that includes drinking water, but it also means eating enough fruits and vegetables. And we also know studies have shown GLP-1 users are not eating enough fruits and vegetables. When we do eat enough fruits and vegetables, that's contributing to our hydration status. Even things like teas, right? And broths, all of that is going to help contribute to our overall hydration status. All right. So the last one is a 1. So 1 small nutrient dense meal at a time. So when you're on a GLP-1, we talked about this earlier, it suppresses our appetite, right? And we're just not going to eat the same amount of food than we historically have. So what does that mean? That means that every single bite that we take really matters. We've seen, based on studies, that GLP-1 users are deficient in many micronutrients. So micronutrients like vitamins A, C, E, D, K, choline, magnesium, potassium, calcium, iron. That's a problem, right? So it is so important that if you're going to have small meals, which is fine, and that is a byproduct of the medication, that we've got to make sure it is highly nutrient dense. And that is an area that we've really got to focus on. So what are we adding to our plate that's going to bump up those nutrients? So that's at a high level, that core framework. GLP-1, get enough protein. The L is load up on fiber. The P is prioritize hydration. And then the 1 is 1 small nutrient dense meal at a time. And when you follow that framework, that's going to really help to ensure you've got that long-term success.
Okay. I love this so much, even if you're not on a GLP-1.
Yes.
I think it is so good. So good. And I love the acronym. I'm totally absorbing that. Yeah, I love your tips for hydration. I feel like hydration is one of the hardest things for me. And a big part of that is because I always have a water bottle, but I also have 4 kids, and inevitably somebody's water bottle is either forgotten or empty. And what do? They reach for mine. And once they reach for mine, I don't want to touch it anymore. I'm like skeeved out. There's backwash in there, kid germs. I mean, I would drink it if I absolutely had to, but like normally I'm like, okay. So I'm chronically dehydrated because of this water issue. But what I've started doing, it's been a while now, but I do an herb tea in the evenings to help get my water intake for the day, which it's not always there, but it helps. And I don't know if you're an herb tea drinker. I feel like 100 years old when I tell people I do this, but I love yogi tea because it gives you this little affirmation on the tea bag. little message. So it's just like a fun part of my day that I enjoy. And now I definitely feel 41 saying that.
Marissa, I love this so much. We are just two peas in a pod because I do the same thing. Yogi is a great brand. Traditional Medicinals is another one of my favorites. And in fact, my daughter and I do it together, and she's 11, and I love it because we do read those little affirmations together on there, and we have a whole tea caddy with all the different options. So we make it fun. We make it like a fun experience. And now I love that that's a part of not only my routine, but her routine too. You know, if she starts to feel a little tickle in her throat, she's like, "Oh, Mama, I need to get my tea out." I'm like, "Okay, let's go get our tea." And it's just fun. So I love that. And that's, you know, what a great way to hydrate, you know, and it flavors the water, but you're also, you know, getting so much benefit out of it. And there's so many different types of teas that support our health. And since we are on the conversation of weight management and weight loss, green tea is one that I would highly recommend to lean into. Now that does have a little bit of caffeine, so if you're sensitive to that, be aware of it. But green tea, there are compounds in there that can help support overall weight loss. And but even if your goal is not weight loss, there's still antioxidants in there that are going to be really powerful to help reduce inflammation in the body. So green tea, matcha tea, just be careful when you go to coffee shops and you order, like, you know, the teas there, because a lot of times they put all that added sugar in there that's not necessary.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Yeah. All right. So what are the most, I mean, you kind of gave us a hint about how to use the GLP-1 as a tool, but what are some of the common mistakes you see with people who are using GLP-1s?
Yeah, good question. So oftentimes, I mean, there's a handful, so I'll name a few. So oftentimes when, and I do primarily work with women, so when they get on this medication and they see a significant reduction in their appetite, oftentimes they just stop eating altogether. And some of them might have the mindset of like, oh, this is a really, really good thing, you know, but they might have that, you know, history, that diet culture of like, oh, deprivation is what I have to do. And that is where we really start to get into trouble because we still need to eat. Our body is designed to eat. It needs food. It needs nourishment. So what I try to do is re-educate my clients on, I realize your appetite has reduced, but we still do need to eat. We still want to focus on breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The portion sizes are going to be a lot smaller. I realize that. And that's okay, but we still don't want to skip out on meals. We still want to nourish our body and give our body the nutrients that it needs to properly function and also properly shift our body composition. You know, this whole weight loss conversation in general, just in our overall culture, oftentimes is all about losing weight on the scale. But in reality, it really needs to be about shifting the body composition. And that's what I do with all of my clients. The number on the scale is just one small indicator of determining somebody's overall health. What I want to know is, what's your fat mass versus your lean mass? And are we shifting that? I've had so many clients where the number on the scale moved just a little bit, but it was because we shifted their body composition, right? They significantly reduced their fat mass. They bumped up their muscle mass. And that is exactly what we need and what we want to support our longevity and our hormones and overall sustainable weight management. So that's one area, not skipping out on meals and making sure we're actually nourishing our body. The other area is oftentimes, you know, clients think that, oh, this is a willpower problem, right? That, you know, that they should just will themselves to make healthier choices. And in reality, that's, you know, not the case. Oftentimes you have to think about willpower as as a muscle throughout the day, right? And it can get weaker as the day goes on. And so what we want to make sure is that we are setting up our routine to create habits that make it easier to make healthier food choices, and making sure that our environment reflects an environment that is easier, right? To be able to pick the fruits and vegetables and the lean proteins over the processed foods. So how do we do that? Well, things like meal prepping. It doesn't mean you have to spend, hours on the weekend to meal prep, but even taking little short mini meal prep sessions throughout the week that you can squeeze into your very busy, hectic schedule can make a huge impact. So those are a couple of areas that clients tend to, could use additional, support as they're on the medication.
Thank you so much, Mary. I feel like I learned a ton about GLP-1s and just overall really good nutritional tips. So appreciate you sharing that with me, with our community. We're going to jump into the lightning part of our show right now, where I'm going to ask you some random, fun, personal questions just so our listeners can get to know you better. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What is your guilty pleasure TV show?
Oh, I just finished the new season of Virgin River.
Oh, I have not seen this. Okay, but I heard it's really good.
It is great. It's really good. There's, when it comes to watching TV for me, it has to be something that is on the lighter side. And that is definitely this. So it's fun, it's light, no violence whatsoever, not anxiety promoting or provoking. So Virgin River, I would highly suggest.
Okay, great. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Calories don't count. I know you're probably not counting calories anyway,
right?
But I'm so curious what your answer is to this.
Okay. Sometimes people roll their eyes at this, but it really is an honest answer. I love chicken salad.
Yeah.
Chicken salad would have to be it. And when I make my chicken salad, I load it with a bunch of things. I diced up vegetables and sauerkraut and all these amazing flavors. So chicken salad, it would have to be chicken salad. I know that's so random, but it's the honest truth.
I mean, it feels kind of like the perfect answer for you, honestly. And I feel like we all need your chicken salad recipe now. So if you'd like to share that with us, let us know.
I'll get right on that.
All right. What about your cocktail of choice? Do you drink alcohol? Is this something that is included in your lifestyle? And what would you choose?
Yeah, so when I do drink alcohol, the only thing I drink is wine. Red wine. It's only red wine. And I have a lot of stipulations around it. It's got to be organic, and it has to have no added sugar in it. And if I'm out, like last night, for example, my husband and I went on a date night and I did have a glass of red wine. I usually try to look for red wine from a European country like Italy or France, because they tend to have better standards than we do.
Got it. Okay. Do you have any preference as to like the type of wine? Are you a Cab, Merlot, Pinot Noir? Like, what's your fave?
I really like it all. It just depends on what I'm eating, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last question here. What is something most people don't know about you?
Ooh, good one. I would say most people don't know that I did travel abroad twice when I was in college. So although my degree plan was all centered around nutrition and dietetics, I did get my minor in Spanish, but don't ask me to speak Spanish right now. And I studied abroad in Costa Rica for a summer, and then also in Chile for a summer. And it was the best experience, really. I loved it.
Wow. Okay. 2 places I have not visited that I would like to. So
would highly recommend both.
Yeah.
Incredible.
We'll have to chat more about that. Okay, Mary, can you tell our listeners where they can find you, connect with you, join your program, and then we will wrap up today's episode.
Absolutely. So you can head to my website at www.cultivatenutrition.com, and everything is there. Everything as it relates to my signature Prime Your Body program, also my VIP one-on-one, my blogs, everything. So you can just head there.
Amazing.
I also have a newsletter, so you can also sign up for a newsletter there where I send out newsletters twice a month. And I offer freebies. I give away recipes and lots of free resources as well.
Amazing. Okay. And maybe your chicken salad recipe will be in there.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you feel empowered, inspired, and ready to take your next step. If this episode spoke to you, share it with another amazing mama, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps us show up wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to head over to mamaworkit.com for free resources, coaching support, and new ways to momage your days as a busy mom. Until next time, keep on working it, mama.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.